Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication did not work for me. Modern medication.
This is Mercy TV, the Cobra's thing. It's almost over, my friends.
The beginning of the end, we hope. So welcome to Mercy TV, your source for news and information on the cannabis issue as that issue unfolds here in Oregon, across America, and around the world. Mercy TV is an action item of Mercy, the Medical Cannabis Resource Center. Find out more about us and our other action items at mercycenters.org. With me today is our patient resource coordinator, Sunny, and our special guest, Lori Diesel. And she's going to talk some about her organization and what they can help folks with and what they need help with themselves, if anything. And let's not forget producer PK. Say hey, PK.
Hello, my friends. People in the hospital, talk to your doctor about using cannabis. You don't have to smoke the beautiful plant. You can make up oil like I have, or make up some butter to add to your recipes. Same with the oil. You have the benefits by eating it, to get it from the intestines to the other vital organs.
The main thing is to talk to your doctors. You know, when you have a chance to talk with your doctors and get in there, and the doctor will tell you how you can talk with your doctors and use the cannabis with the, you know, because you have the medicines you're using with the cannabis, because it will work with medicines you're using, because it helps. The cannabis and the medicine you're using will work more effectively. They do so good. You know, there's so many medicines that work so good, and everybody's systems are different, and they work, and depending on how old you are, and everybody's got a different, you know, and you know, everybody does, you know, depending on what you're drinking and what kind of work you do. And
Well, you know, and it's also not just in and of itself good medicine and so forth, but is part of a healthy cycle that gives you an appetite. You eat well, you then sleep well, and have energy for the day, and so forth. So it's part of your, like with chemotherapy, reduces the pain, and depending on the strain of cannabis, can increase your energy and so forth. So
the condition
And
you
it
have,
may
right?
even
The condition.
cure you of your cancer.
Oh man, and all the cancers.
some
they're
studies,
finding out.
yes, all outside
All
the
of-
U.S., oddly enough.
They're finding out every cancer, you know,
So, and this is the kind of information I presume that your organization's giving out and sharing with both folks that
We
contact you.
I try to share all kinds of information, especially about the different ways to treat different things, different ways to utilize the cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
I like to make butter and oil.
Mm-hmm.
I have arthritis and fibromyalgia and whatnot, and I take a teaspoon of oil 1 to 3 times a day
Okay.
to
Yeah.
help mitigate that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's I like.
And sharing the recipes and procedure and so
Oh,
forth.
it's
You have a group that meets on a regular basis through online,
just on Facebook.
Facebook group, yeah.
There's I've made RSO using Everclear
Okay.
and extracted it from the cannabis, and then solidifying it in butter.
Right.
Using
Oh,
the
I see.
butter that way.
Mhm.
A friend of mine, they've been using I believe it's a Levo machine, and it infuses the cannabis and butter
Oh, interesting.
together. Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
And you
because
don't taste the cannabis in the butter.
Interesting.
Yeah, I want to find out more about that.
because everybody's conditions, and it helps because all the conditions and their bodies, and I mean and the medicine. I mean, you got to take all of them into each one and keep track. But once, and how many times a day? Like you're saying, you did 3 times.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I told you guys a story about I had been having CAT scans of my lungs,
Mm-hmm.
and because I have COPD and whatnot, and it came back and I had a spot on my upper lung, and so rather than just having it done annually, he wanted me to have another one done in 6 months.
Mm.
And so I went home and I had made some RSO using grapeseed oil. And this, I put the cannabis in the oil, and I cooked it for 3 days. It was in there.
At a
And-
low temperature.
Yeah, but it simmered it, so it got decarbonized good.
Okay.
And I was gonna take some up to my mom, and I was going out the door and I took a teaspoon of it and got up there, and I was up there about 20 minutes and it hit me. Boy, I was stumped. But yeah, so,
But still some in control, though. I think that's important to show
Yeah.
folks, is even
yeah,
as,
because
a lot of mistake is a
And she knew what was going on.
right too. And she
Well,
was experienced with it. She didn't panic or freak. And
after that, I started out just with a teaspoon once a day, and then I worked up. I was doing a tablespoon 3 times a day, and when I went back in 6 months, the spot had stabilized, and then but they found another spot in the lower portion, and so then I went back 6 months later, and I'm doing the oil, and the first spot disappeared, and the second spot had stabilized. And so it's, I believe it was the RSO that did it, that, stopped whatever it was.
But not just the RSO, but then put into the oil and diffused so
Well,
you could
It was,
consume it.
it's still RSO.
Alternatively, you would have been
using
taking
the
that little
oil.
grain-sized bit of RSO.
I've done that too, where I've, taken the RSO that I've made with the Everclear and put it in a syringe and putting it in the little capsule, and then filling the rest of the capsule up with coconut oil and taking them that way. But I've taken them quite a bit. I've taken it quite a bit.
Excellent. So it's very
It's
useful.
ingesting the cannabis in one form or the other.
Right.
See, now this is something that folks should educate their doctors about, that these methods of consuming it, because most of them are, consumed with smoking and other modalities. And
That's
so.
what you think when you think of, weed or pot or.
Excuse me, you wouldn't hear after a cannabis commercial all the side effects that you would hear on some of these over-the-counter medicines, or even the medicines that they're asking you to have your physician prescribe to you because you're having this ailment.
Talk to your doctor about taking this for whatever, and And then yeah, this whole long litany of things that it's, oh, by the way,
Yeah.
you know, so no, they won't allow cannabis to be used for medical purposes because they can't prove it's harmless. And they can't prove it's harmless because they won't allow any cannabis out to be used in testing.
My
But if you have some drug that does all these things, they said that actually does these bad things like they said cannabis does, if you say it real fast at the end of the commercial, you're off the hook.
Well, my very best friend was diagnosed with cancer just before my daughter passed away, 6 months before, and they did chemotherapy, and it wound up metastasizing, and I truly feel that the chemotherapy, you know,
It was
goes
worse.
in and blasts it. That's what it did. That's my opinion. But I mean, and we've been best friends for decades, and we get stoned together. She talked to the doctor that was treating her about using cannabis for her cancer, and that doctor told her that if it worked, it'd put her out of business, and that if she used it, that she would not be prescribed pain medicine when she needed it. I swear to God, and it just sickens me that some of these physicians feel this way. But it's, you know,
And it's a purely financial or policy thing, if you will. That's not because cannabis is going to hurt you. It's not because they have a single death or single case of long-term physical harm from it. It's purely because the DEA will punish them severely if they do so. Punish you for saving a life. You know, wow, what, wrong, okay? So,
no, I totally agree.
yeah. So that's why we tell folks, register, vote, get everyone you know to do so also.
And educate yourself.
All right?
Learn about the different products, learn about the different science that they have done on cannabis. And you won't find the negative.
Well, we have the advantage of the smartphone and Google that we can properly type in the word cannabis and it would come up, or cures, cannabis cures.
Well, that's what you need to do is just educate yourself so that, you know, you're fully informed on everything, on what the chemotherapy is doing, or the radiation is doing, or what the cannabis is doing.
Right.
And weigh it all out. And just from past experience, I've known too many people that have dealt with cancer and have died.
Yep, we've, same here. We've known a few.
My brother-in-law, he hadn't been able to eat, and I stopped and visited him, and I left him a little bit of pot, and first time he'd eaten for months, you know, where his wife didn't have to force him to eat something. And so, you know, she's on the phone to me, it's where can I get some more?
Amen.
Yeah,
Hallelujah.
and that's how, that's how it's gone since I've been
It's
in
a
it, which
quality
is
of
like
life.
3 decades now.
It's a quality of life.
Well, you know what gets me is, you know, Oregon, we are known for the right to life, the right to live. That's why we have the law, the right to die. You know,
Okay.
if we are ill and we decide to take our own life, there's a law that says that we have that right to do it. And so I also feel that we have every other right to choose to treat our illnesses the way we want to treat them.
Yep, and
Very true.
you have medical cannabis available. for a little while at any rate. Unfortunately, it's at a fee that many patients find exorbitant. And then the issue of getting a garden is a real showstopper, because there's just not that many growers around, even if the patient community could afford the extra to have a grower. And then that grower's got to face all kinds of rules and regulations, costs. You've got to be able to go online. You've got to have be able to
A scale that the state
a scale. You've got to be able to weigh your plant, which means moving your plant. I mean, there's a risk of tumbling it and so forth. So especially
Boy, I
disabled people and so forth, it's just
I've been out of touch with Oregon's laws.
yeah, they made it really, really, really hard. I'm afraid the prohibitionists went after it with a vengeance when legalization came in. A lot of folks have the mistaken that there were forces that were pro recreational that contributed to the medical program's demise. But no, it was just these same legislators who had always been submitting these bills to take the law down. This time there was none. All the energy and force from those folks that had supported the recreational program wasn't there. So bad laws were passed, and now it sucks.
The main strange thing is, how's the alcohol people taking care of the cannabis? Shouldn't it be the agricultural
Yeah,
people
see,
where
that makes
they
no
grow?
sense from another standpoint, mainly because they've always been the
They lobbied against us.
right. They're if anybody has done reefer madness, mentality to cannabis, it's these people. So to have them under their thumb when
It's
there-
like
there's
having the fox guard against.
right, A, B, there's their conflict of interest because they really represent the alcohol industry, and that competition,
Imagine that.
So you got to disown from that and everything, and so yeah, on a number of levels, they are just not the right organization. Pretty much anybody else, the freaking Girl Scouts would be better off managing the pot program. At least they'd watch out for the kids, which these guys are not.
Well, they don't in the alcohol industry either.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, that's a major thing, is to get all the cannabis out from under the alcohol commission and somewhere else more appropriate, The
Well,
medical
it's
program should be with health.
agricultural.
The recreational growers should be, and maybe all growers should be with the ag department. And all the, laws, rules, and stuff that applies to agricultural and horticultural processes should be applied. We shouldn't have this nonsensical 12-inch rule to determine whether or not a plant's mature.
It's 24 inches now.
24 inches now, which is still retarded. So it's not based on a plant, a horticultural thing. It's a reefer madness. We got to worry about the drug because it's evil and dangerous, and oh my God, the little children mentality is applied to these laws. We got to get that crap out of there and get the laws changed.
Well, we got to talk to our doctor, okay? The medicine.
Well, getting with the program,
The
you got to talk to
medicine-
your legislator to change the laws or
The
to cut the
medicine
stripping of the program.
is gonna be for us, so we got to talk to our doctor. So that's who is the health department. You got to break all of these departments down, and well, you know what? Where do we go? How do we go? Well, not the alcohol. We're not going to alcohol. We're not going to tobacco. All these other places these people have got us going to. Well, the patients are getting kind of screwed.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been getting screwed for a long time. And we all know it. You guys, we've been doing this for a long time, and we all know it. You guys, we know it. And I'm sorry. I apologize for all the... Man.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like, the way it is for patients these days. They're being forced out of the program by the program. the administrators themselves always complain about the numbers of, we don't understand why that they're making, it's, well, these people are sick, it helps. You know, what part don't you freaking understand?
Man,
And
that's
may
it.
you cure you.
Yeah, you know,
And they're
and-
barely hanging on. And that's the patients are just barely hanging on.
Quality of life.
And
You know?
the medicine is, but we
that's
gotta
still
talk.
true today. It's like when we first got the law to prevent this crap from happening. Now it is, and we've got to strengthen the law to cut this crap out again. Now still, so help us out.
And the vote. And you gotta talk to your legislator.
You're right.
You gotta talk to
Yeah.
your senator. You know, all these are really important.
Get with the program and network with folks like Lori Diesel's group to maximize your, benefit. There's a lot of folks suffering through the same conditions, and they're spread out, throughout the U.S. You can see that on our website and around the world even. And in each state, they've got groups of folks, working on things at their various levels. Some of them are looking to get the law changed. Some of them are looking to maximize the program they have. But in each case, there's a network involved there. And it's folks talking with each other and supporting each other. In those cases where folks still have legal troubles, you want to fill the courtroom every time somebody gets arrested and has to deal with a hassle like that. When there's a bill, you want to fill the hearing room and fill the steps of your Capitol, or fill the streets.
Make a
There's
phone call.
make phone calls, send emails, send letters. Write to letters of the editor, write to your newspapers,
To
write
your
articles.
senators, to the president.
Yep.
Quality of life.
From the president all down through Congress people to county commissioners and councilors, to mayors and city councilors, to the dog catcher, to that water steward guy who doesn't get paid but has this job or whatever. Because each one of those people are going to be the next year's council people, and eventually up and so. And so you want this bedrock of cannabis wise people involved. Certainly representing what we the people believe to be the case. No more being ruled by reefer madness, lies and nonsense. It's downright flat earth mentality. The way some of these, the cannabis kills you and causes cancer and drives you insane and makes people act crazy and jump off the roofs, and it's still prevalent today. It's still generating that stigma, if nothing else, and it's crap. And the only way it's going to end, if you, the people, end it. If you expose the nonsense, if you make sure that people in Congress don't have any of those belief systems. Because if they've got those, then they've probably got a whole doozy of nonsensical things.
Yeah, educate your legislators.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Well, it's really important before you vote, so everybody
And
needs to
there's
talk.
there's bills that are currently in the federal. I don't know what the state has going for it. We just came out of the session with nothing happening much less for cannabis. But there are some federal bills that are still being bounced around. So find out who your legislator is, if you don't yet, and contact them on this issue.
Yeah, because they hopefully we've made the right choice and sent the right ones, so that they're going to listen to you.
Well, if not, then vote them out. Let's work on it. Join these campaigns.
Yeah.
Help to register voters. Help to poll enable. There's going to be a lot of hurdles thrown up to make sure certain people don't vote, and we got to counter those by a human network of helping people get rides to the poll, helping people get to the polls one way or another, and support them there as much as you can. I mean, places like Florida now make it illegal to give somebody in line to vote water. Like
Well,
that's a big bribe.
They
on their
said during the
chainsaw.
pandemic, that's why they were able to get some more states, because they were having more people at home, so they were having people at home able to work the computers, able to do stuff on the computer, So, like we're talking right now, give them some time to go to the computers, give Perry emails, go to the thing, give me the shot, get to this, go to where they need to go, give them a shot, Too easy,
All right.
It's right.
Yeah.
It's too easy.
Well, we got about 3 minutes, so any last words?
Well, yeah, that's, all the places you got time, if there's some conditions that the cannabis has been helping, let us know. That's what's important. We've been trying to let everybody know, share, that's how we, share what's,
Participation, my friend.
right?
Hey,
And communication.
yes. Thank you for watching. Thanks for Dr. Rebecca, Nurse Ed, Mike, Shauna, and everybody else that is a cannabis user. Peace and victory for us all. Thank you. We love you. Take care. And if you have time to have fun, go fly a kite.
Lori, how does folks who want to connect with you get a hold of you? On Facebook, it's...
The Den, the Stoner's Den.
Okay, on Facebook, look at the Stoner's Den. And you can communicate with Lori Diesel and her group in their quest to use cannabis safely and effectively, I'm assuming. No, we're just a bunch of party. Woo! So thanks for visiting. Be sure to tell your friends and tell your enemies. What the heck? What have you got to lose? And we'll see you here next time on Mercy TV.
Be safe.
You want to say anything before I turn it off, Glenn?
Yes, good night.
Good night. God bless you all, every single one of you.